So, all right, guys, we got to get this one right. On three, we're going to say, welcome back to Extraordinary Thoughts for on their mind. 1, 2, 3.
Welcome back to our mind.
And we back.
That'll work right there.
Yeah.
And we back. And we
Yeah.
back. And we back. And we back. And we
Y'all did y'all best. And that's all that matters.
What's going on, everybody? It's that ordinary podcast with the extraordinary thoughts that tells you to stop being great and be extraordinary. I'm your host, Demetrius Stapen, also known as Meech Speaks, and welcome back to another episode of Extraordinary Thoughts for the Ordinary Mind. So, two issues I want to address. First thing, I got my man voice back. You already know what I'm talking about. 2, I'm all out of passes. I don't know who need to hear that, but I'm so out of passes. Like, I'm not giving out any more passes, man. Like, if you say some wild shit to me, I'm addressing it. If you do some ignorant shit to me, I'm addressing it. If something comes up and I don't fucking like it, then I'm addressing it. Okay? And this isn't a threat, okay? This is a declaration to myself. Okay? This is a promise to myself. And matter of fact, before we even start this episode, stop the tape, pause it. Go ahead and make a promise to yourself real quick. Make a promise to yourself that you're going to stand up for yourself more. That you're going to believe in yourself more. I really need to just go ahead let's change the energy in the room real quick. That as we move forward into this weekend, that you're going to celebrate yourself a little bit more. That we ain't about to keep putting ourselves in the background. That we actually the main character. This is actually the story about us. All right, back to Extraordinary Thoughts. Now, as we go ahead and we go into the Unfuck Yourself series, one thing that I really need to unfuck is my emotions towards myself. Let me rephrase that. I need to unfuck this whole behavior of being so selfless and not selfish. Because I've been real heavy on the selfish and less on the selfless. And I get it. You know, we were told that, it's not good to be selfish. You're so selfish. We always look at it in this whole idea that being selfish is detrimental to the community. Being selfish is detrimental to the team. It's detrimental to the organization. It's detrimental to the squad. And all of that is true. Yes, to an extent. But I'm going to ask you a question real quick, and I really need you to understand this right here. How are you supposed to charge your battery if you keep giving out the fucking charger to everybody else? How are you supposed to grow your plants in your garden when you constantly taking care of everybody else's? Let's just cut the bullshit. How the fuck are you supposed to take care of yourself if you constantly taking care of everybody else? Who's supposed to take care of you? Who's supposed to check up on you? We pride ourselves in this whole idea of being a good person, but we're not even good people to ourselves. We pride ourselves on being loyal friends, but we're not even loyal to ourselves. And I say that in a sense that we're so busy trying to be selfless. We're so busy trying to be good fucking Samaritans. But in our own communities, within our own minds and hearts, we're not even that. We're the fucking villain. We whore out our services on a regular basis. And I really want to say that right now. That we've all probably have been in a situation where somebody has volunteered your services and we get mad about that. Yo, why the fuck would you do that? Why would you tell them that I would do that? But this is the thing, is that we do it to ourselves on a regular basis. And I'm no victim to this. I'm not saying that it never happened to me, because I'm a victim to it too. How many times have I volunteered myself for something that I know I should have just backed out of? Let me rephrase. How many times have I not said no when I really should have said no, but instead I didn't agree nor disagree, and now I'm stuck in a situation that I know I could have got myself out of. I know I shouldn't be there. I'm real heavy on the me and less on the you. And when I really say that I'm not giving out any more free passes, I'm not giving out any more fucking free passes. Like as I moved forward, when I said that I was going to value, I was going to go ahead and invest in myself. Investing in yourself means supporting yourself. Investing in yourself also means that you got to believe in yourself. Invest in yourself means that you have to value your fucking presence. And I don't know who needs to hear that. You got to value your presence. See, despite popular belief, a lot of people don't know, but I actually struggle. I struggle with low self-esteem. I struggle with it. And in a sense that I don't look in the mirror and say, oh my God, I can't believe I have such a big forehead. My hairline's receding. Absolutely not. First and foremost, my hairline is not receding. Yes, I do have a big forehead, but I look good and I'm aging like fucking wine and I look even great. Okay. Like I'm very, very confident in my looks. I love the way I look. I love the way I love me in that sense. The problem is that I don't value my opinion. The problem is that I don't value my presence. I don't. And the problem is that when you don't value your presence, you don't realize how much value you bring into the room. When you don't value your presence, you don't realize what you actually bring in that room when you walk into it. And what I mean by that, I'm talking about this right here. You got $1 million presence. And when I say $1 million presence, when you walk into a room, you haven't even opened your mouth yet you'd allow this one there because of the way that you carry yourself. But you put yourself in the background for everybody else. You a main character, but you choose to be treated like a supporting cast member for the sake of somebody else. And I feel like that's the worst thing that you can do. That's like the biggest injustice. And we've all been there. Once again, we've all been there. You know, when we were kids and our parents used to tell us shit like, used to cuss us out for expressing our opinions. And we're trying to change the narrative now where we allow our kids to have that open dialogue with ourselves so they don't hide things. But that's kind of where it comes from. Or you've probably been in the military where you come across like a toxic leader who takes constructive criticism. Let me rephrase. He takes other people's opinions as an attack towards himself and what he believes. So now he's punishing everybody else for his incompetence. One of the biggest things that I probably faced was and it really came out during this entire situation, with Black Lives Matter, with George Floyd, with the injustice, with the racial injustices. It was just, it really came out being black in the military. It really did. And I'm not saying the military is racist. Absolutely not. But there are people in the military that are racist, and everybody knows that. Because people come from different places. They are raised in different ways. We come from different cultures. We have different values, morals, and ethics. And I used to tell myself to not trip when somebody said some weird shit to me. Let me rephrase, not even some weird shit, some racist shit. I promised myself I would hold myself back and told myself, don't trip, because you don't want to be labeled as that ignorant black man, the angry black man. I chose not to be that guy. Let me rephrase, I chose not to be that black guy. But in reality, I know for a fact I should have cussed your ass out for saying that subtle racist ass remark towards me. I should have cussed you out for every time that we were trying to have a good time and you said some slick, subtle racist shit. Because I'm going to explain something to y'all that I really need you to understand, that it's not the way that everybody thinks. That they just do it like how you see it on the internet. Like that's once in one in a million type of things right there. Those things that we see trending on the internet, that's not the norm. That's really where the outrage coming from. That's not the norm. You see what I'm saying? It's that subtle thing. It's them subtle ones that really get to you. That's really where it comes from. When we've been out in the sun and then they come up to you and they say shit like, oh, I'm as black as you. Oh, it's dark. So they tell you shit like, oh, smile. That's the remarks that you really hear. Those are the remarks that you really hear. But we do things like this right here. We laugh it off. We smile it off. Yeah, whatever. Fuck you. I really should punch you in your fucking face for saying that ignorant ass statement to me. And let's just take racism out of the way. I really should punch you in your face for saying a lot of the shit that you said. And this ain't me solving my problems with violence, but I've really taken the high road so much that I've really compromised me. At the expense of me, I've saved you the humiliation. At the expense of me, I have saved your ego. I've valued your presence over mine. I value your existence over mine. And that's not fair. That's not fair to me. And I really want you to ask yourself, how many times have you compromised you for somebody else? How many times have you given your arm just so somebody can close the door in your face with it? How many times have you given your legs so somebody else can run off with them? Because you tell yourself things like, oh, well, people will do it for me, right? No. And I really want you to understand right now, this isn't me close your heart, be mean or anything like that. This is me telling you to stand up for your fucking self. Because we sit back and we say that we want a loyal friend, but in order to want a loyal friend, you got to be a loyal friend. And the first friend that you need to be loyal to is yourself. We sit back and we talk about personal development, personal growth. But how the fuck are you allowing things to grow when you're constantly watering somebody else's garden but your own? We say that we want to develop, but you're helping somebody else develop instead of helping yourself develop. Sometimes you got to focus on yourself in order. You got to focus on yourself in order to be able to help somebody else. Know yourself, seek self-improvement. And when I say seeking self-improvement, yes, I've worked on myself. And I've learned to use my words more than I've learned to use my hands. I've learned. But I cannot stress this enough. I really can't. I really can't. I've smiled at things I know I should have punched you in your face for. Really should have. I've laughed off comments that I know I should have cussed you out for. I've stayed in a room and changed my behavior so that way I can fit the room. I've adapted to the negativity in the room when I really, really, really should have just exited. And I don't know who needs to hear this, but you got to be real comfortable with yourself in order to be able to make these changes. And the reason why a lot of people don't address that bullshit around them is for two reasons right here. They stuck in this whole loop of taking the fucking high road. And ain't nothing wrong with taking the high road. And I'm a strong believer that everybody's energy, your energy ain't wasted on everybody. You can't give your energy to everybody. I'm a strong believer in that. Somebody that I'm never going to meet a day in my life that's just saying something because of the lack of the insecurities that he has, that he sees that I possess. Let me rephrase. I don't waste my time on somebody that sees my strengths as a weakness to them. I don't waste my time on somebody that's like commenting under my page with some weird insecurity. I don't. But at the same time, I need you to understand, I am past the whole compromising my peace for yours. And I need you to understand this right here. Some people got their heads so far up their asses that, and the reason why it's so far up their ass, is so far up, is because everybody took the fucking high road. Everybody chose silence over addressing it. Everybody chose not to tell them about themselves, and their head just kept getting deeper and deeper in their fucking ass. And now here they are walking around in a state of ignorance because they think it's bliss. In reality, somebody needs to pull their head out their ass. And congratulations, you have come to the right person, because I'm a plumber. I'm about to go ahead and unclog that motherfucker because you tried the right one. And I know that might sound a little bit too forward, but at the same time, the problem that I have with this situation, and I don't know who's ever been in this before, is that have you ever had an argument with somebody? You know what I mean? Had an argument with them. And now you find yourself replaying that argument because you didn't say the things that you should have said. You know what I mean? I found myself in scenarios. I found myself replaying scenarios that I know I should have handled better, but I chose to keep your feelings in mind. I chose to not kill the vibe in the room. I chose to be the nice guy instead of the bad guy. And sometimes you really need to be the bad guy in order to create order. You need to go ahead and put yourself first in order to have peace. And we always talk about having peace within, but the problem is that in order to have peace, protect your peace, you got to understand yourself. Some people can walk away from a comment and be completely comfortable with it. Others, on the other hand, have to address that situation because now that's energy that's still out there. That's energy that's still out. You took some negative energy, but you threw your energy out there. Me personally, I've already said it before. I don't like to live in a scenario where I could have changed the circumstances if I just would have changed and applied more pressure. If I just would have gave a little bit more, my situation would have changed. I refuse to be around something. And this is what I really want to address. When you don't address the person that crosses the line in the sand, they consider that behavior to be normal. You said that you had boundaries, but they crossed those boundaries and you have allowed it to continue. That person that's always saying some weird shit to you, they ain't just wake up one day and just choose to say it to you. No, they said something in the very beginning and you just allowed it and it just built up. These mountains that you have to constantly overcome, move and shit like that, they started off as anthills that you allowed to grow and fester. I really need you to understand that. That a lot of the problems that you be facing are the problems that you caused because you chose ignorance over bliss. Ignorance is bliss. You chose silence over addressing it. So if we gonna do anything, this week we gonna do some reflection. And what I mean by reflection, I need you to do me a favor real quick. Go ahead and take a step back and just ask yourself how you had conducted yourself this entire week. Did you put yourself in the back seat when you really should have stood in the front? Did you address things that you know needed addressing, or did you go ahead and be silent and allow it to continue? And I really need to ask that. Did you put yourself first? Are you worried about your mental health? That's the question. Do you really value your peace? Because we always talk about this whole scenario where we value our peace, but at the same time, we constantly allow people to treat our peace like a fucking punching bag. When they say protect your peace, they mean protect your peace. That means that you don't get to say some weird shit to me. You don't get to make me feel like I'm less than. You don't get to gaslight me because I'm doing better than you. Ask yourself, what have I been doing? Have I been a best friend to me? Have I been more selfish or selfless? Have I found the balance? Have I stood up for myself? How much is my presence really worth? And just like that, another extraordinary thought left this ordinary mind. I hope you enjoyed this episode half as much as I enjoy making it. Stay tuned Mondays and Fridays. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Meech Speaks. Once again, that's Meech Speaks. Meech is spelled Meech. Once again, that is Meech. Don't forget to like the podcast, share the podcast, and follow the podcast. Stay hungry. Stay motivated. I'm out.